Alrighty, are we live? Yes, we are. Oh my gosh. Today's episode of the ColorUp podcast is going to be a great one because I want you to imagine a world without crap. I mean, we could eliminate the world. If we could eliminate the crap from our lives, wouldn't the world be a better place? But what if we told you there's a way to eliminate craps from the game of craps? What is it all about? We're going to find out right now on the ColorUp podcast.
Welcome to the ColorUp podcast. Whether you're a seasoned player or a beginner eager to step up to the table, this is your lucky podcast that's all about the thrill and strategy of the casino world. I'm your host, Jeremy. With me is Jim the Professor. Let's get rolling. See how I did my papers like a newscaster there?
Yeah, you look really
good.
Kind
of fun. Oh, very official, right? They always stack their papers, and for some reason.
Oh my gosh, that's going to look really good on the Apple podcast.
Very good.
Wait a minute, that's not visual. Okay, never mind. Audio.
No, just here on YouTube, it'll look good. Everywhere else, you just listening. And all your favorite podcast platforms, and I just verified it's on Spotify too. I think it's hit them all by now. So. Yeah, wherever your favorite podcast app, be sure to check out the ColorUp podcast by Sports Grid. That's how I found it on Spotify. But
okay,
as we get more SEO ranking, I think we'll start moving up the charts. And as people, leave a 5-star review and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We'll be next thing you know, we'll be taking over Rogan's spot. Right?
Look out, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And what's the other guy with the long hair?
We'll get the big interviews, right?
Yeah. We'll get the big ones.
Yeah. We're going to talk about crapless craps, or why they removed craps in craps, which we were mentioning for the show. What an unfortunate name we have for our favorite game.
It's a marketing nightmare. It really is. It's a terrible name for a great game.
It's
nothing sexy like roulette. It sounds very French.
Roulette, yeah.
Roulette.
Beautiful
with
word.
TTE. And what else is out there?
You got baccarat.
Yeah, that sounds very sophisticated.
I gave it some. It's primarily a Eastern game, and I gave it like
you tried to make it like baklava.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure what kind of accent I'm adding to it, but it definitely probably is not accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the point is, it's got a great name. Blackjack, simple, but it's good. And then you got craps. Like they couldn't go with dice.
Yeah, dice would have been nice.
Dice is something.
Dice is nice.
Pass line even, or. I don't know. I mean, I guess originally it came from crabs, supposedly was the English name or something like that. So maybe it evolved, but craps?
Yeah, it's not,
just,
not very
maybe
good.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that term wasn't it. It was what it is today back then,
Well, I listened to a podcast this week about toilets.
Okay.
And, that... With the crap.
Was it dedicated to toilets? I mean,
yeah, it was all about how toilets don't get the credit for making the world a healthy place, and it's very important.
Fair enough.
And I think it was John Crapper. We can verify, but I think one of the guys was John Crapper, which I think, if I remember correctly, he was down with the flapper. But he gets more credit because the American GIs would go over there and read crapper, and the Americans said they were going to the crapper or something. But
I mean, did you search this podcast out, or did you?
No.
Okay. Because I'm like, what is your listening pleasure over here?
It was actually a radio podcast. I was listening on my way to my soccer game this morning at 7:00 in the morning, and I think it was the name of the podcast was The American Experience, and they were talking about the great development in the toilet problems through the years, and how, even when they ran it out to the rivers a couple hundred years ago, the world was a very dirty place. All the towns were based on the rivers, but anyway, enough about that.
Certainly one of the great inventions of our time.
Yes. You got Elon Musk with the rocket landing, and then you got the toilet.
Yeah, it looked like a video in reverse because he's like coming in when you got the toilet, and then air conditioning. There's a few major milestones.
Wheel,
for sure.
Wheel doesn't
the wheel,
get a lot.
yeah.
Not a
and
lot
then
of credit.
this dice game, which with the unfortunate name,
with a crappy name.
right? And then later on, they tried to remove all the craps from
They
crap,
did.
and thus crapless.
Crapless,
they
which
left the
is
name
what
in
this
there.
show's about. Yeah.
Right, but before we get to that, I guess we skipped last week. I was busy. I'm not sure about you, but I try to be consistent. But I don't want this to be a high pressure podcast, so it is what it is. The schedule is I need to change the title from usually 8 p.m. Eastern on Sundays.
Yes.
I do my best, but last week I was at least out for a good cause.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, I was in Vegas for Craps for the Cure, which John at Pro Craps kind of organizes, and then in conjunction with his CGTV, which has got a lot of guys in the community that take part in that YouTube channel. So they come together and raise money for different causes, and this year it was to raise money. And I'm not sure, you can go to their website, crapsforthecure.com. I know they extended a little bit. If it's not, it may be closed by now. I know they extended it for like a week, but if you were interested in donating to it, but they were raising money for a veteran dogs, which is a really cool.
They were
thing.
raising money to train the dog so it can take care of a veteran, whether it be post-traumatic stress, that kind of thing,
right.
and it takes a lot of money and a lot of time to train.
Right,
dogs.
I guess it's like
so
2 years and like $50,000,
yes.
Which you got the trainer's time, you got you buy a top breed, and then you got 2 years of just training, so they can, someone with issues can really lean on this dog to take care of them. It's almost like a seeing eye dog. I mean, it's a lot of training, and so it's just a really cool cause, and so it's always cool to be a part of it. This year I didn't. I participated in a couple segments and that sort of thing, but I didn't really get to lean into it as much as I like. So next year I'm like, hey, I'd love to like rebroadcast it on my channel or something, just to help get the word out. Cause I know I have a kind of a big voice in the community. So,
hey, and
anyway,
we just got
it's
a
still
comment.
Successful.
We just got a comment that the Craps for the Cure raffle has been extended to Veterans Day. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
so definitely go to their website, crapsforthecure.com. And I know Joe was a part of it down there, and it's a good thing and good cause, and it's fun to get together in Vegas, of course, and then to get to shake the hands of some of the other YouTubers in the community.
And at it was at a different venue this year, correct?
Yeah, in the new casino. I don't know CEG. I don't know what their name stands for. It's casino. That's the Casino Quest guys. But it's their training school.
Okay.
It's called CEG Training Center. So we were over there at their training center, which they've moved into. It's a big old place, and they were very kind to let us take over a big section of their spot there. And of course, they have lots of dice tables and that sort of thing. So
that was probably a good time. I see we got some of the guys jumping in who were there, and actually, Craftsmaster Journey made this awesome looking table thing, and he put a video out on it, and it was so cool looking. I had to put a bid on that one as well too. But
so the raffles aren't over, which is cool. So you can still participate in the raffles and giving and that sort of thing. So definitely go check out the website, crapsforthecure.com. So I did want to get when is Veterans Day. I guess we should throw out the date. Well, I guess we don't need a date because this is a podcast and people it gets dated and that sort of thing. But as of now, if you hear my voice, go check it out. You may be able to still donate and for a really good cause. So it's always fun that the Craps guys get together and do something like
absolutely.
that.
Yeah. Glad y'all
Anything
had
else?
fun. No, nothing really in the world that I can think of.
I booked an Alaskan cruise.
Oh, wow. Is that going to be publicly announced, or is this for your Green Club members, or
think,
what are you doing?
I mean, I just announced my things. For those who don't know, I announced it for my green member of the ColorUp Club, just because, a lot of these ships, they have one table. So as much as I would love to, if you had 10 people plus the already people cruising, it's not going to work out. You're not going to be able to play and that sort of thing. So I do keep it kind of exclusive to my green members. Now, I don't know how many people are going to hop on an Alaskan cruise. So that's probably when I could announce the public date, because
You never know, Jeremy.
logistically, it's like you leave out of Vancouver,
Okay.
right? So you got to fly. So you need your passport, right? And you're flying into British Columbia, Canada, and then it's a Northern Passage, and then you get off in Seaward, Alaska, which then, from what I understand, which I'm looking forward to, is like an hour train ride up to Anchorage, where you could fly out of Anchorage. So, now my cruise was free. Right.
Okay.
Free.
Yeah.
We talk about winning
prepaid
these free
or free
cruises.
Yeah.
But the travel expenses alone are going to be pretty significant.
Just to get there.
So a hotel there, the flights there, then another hotel back in Anchorage, and then the flight home. A lot of travel costs involved. But it's it's one of those things, like a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm certainly looking forward to it. And
hey, real quick, I know you're not. We're not doing a news or anything like that, but I did happen to notice that you're wearing a Browns hoodie today, and they did beat the Baltimore Ravens today. And
today is the day that we blew our chance at the number 1 pick in the draft. So, in Brown style, what are we playing for now? We started trading some of our. We gave up on the season. We're like trading some of our top. Pro Bowl players now. I mean, we're starting to clean house, right? Like, it's time to just go for the number 1 pick. And here we go. We stumble upon a win against one of the tougher teams in the NFL. It's just, I'm happy. I am, but it's just such a Browns thing.
You should be happy. You're going to go on a run now, and you're going to beat the Steelers. You're going to beat the Ravens.
And then
Bengals.
what? To what end? And then we could say, hey, we went 5-11 this year. Like, whoop-de-doo. I mean, I don't know. I as long as, I guess they keep trying, right? That's the important thing.
That's why
sports.
they do
just
this.
Keep
They try. Yeah, it's just like with us with the game of craps.
Yeah,
or should I say with the crapless game of craps.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is not a visual thing. I started putting all my. So each year in my ColorUp club, I design a chip, and some years have more than others. But I picked when I was at Casino Training Center. I picked up these cool little display cases, and now I can show I'm going to display. I gotta get a shelf behind me, but I can display each year's. Like, this was what do you call it? Year of the Animal. I don't know, the Chinese New Year stuff. So different animals and stuff. And this past year, this is a little.
It's kind of a Mexican that.
The Day de Muertos, Day of the Dead celebration. This is a new one coming out that people can't see, but it's a little preview.
Yeah, you can see a little bit.
It's a dog. So they're all skeletons, but this one I designed it as a dog. So that's coming out to my club members in December.
Okay.
So, there's just different. I don't know why I brought it, except for I was right before the show. I was putting them together, so I figured I'd show them.
Awesome.
But maybe we should get to our topic.
Let's get to it.
We're only 12 minutes in.
Yeah.
But I don't think people mind. This is what podcasts are for, right?
Yeah, and hopefully people find you interesting, and which I know they do. At least 110,000 people do. So that's cool.
I don't know if that is the case. Well, I mean, that's
I'm talking about subscribers. I mean, I'm assuming they've at least have a somewhat.
They got enough value that they'd hit that little button, right?
I don't know, but I mean, they got to have value. They got to like you. They got to believe you, sincerity, and all that good stuff. So. Let's hear what Mr. Sincerity has got to say about crapless craps. And first off, who started it? I know you know the answer.
Yeah, I know Bob Stupak did it, and I don't remember. I think you probably have notes on it. Some Vegas World,
yes,
or it had a weird name, but essentially it was the Stratosphere. Now it's the Strat.
Yes.
The north, the big tower thing at the north end of, not the north end, west end. I don't know which end of the strip it is. That
Isn't
side
that
of
north?
the strip.
Is it north?
I don't know that road kind of.
I know, but as many times you've been to Vegas and you don't know what's North Strip and South Strip? Isn't that the north?
I call it the north and the other in the south, but I don't know if, like, when you look on a map, I don't think it aligns north and south. I could be wrong. Maybe it is.
Can we get somebody in the chat?
Yeah,
if
we
there's
need a
anybody
geographical
listening? Strat is north.
expert.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
I always say it's north.
We don't have a producer for this podcast yet.
No,
so.
we'll have to lean on the audience for.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. So north, we got the Strat over there.
It's on that end that's dead. Well, they say is dead, but there's things happening. The Fountain Blue.
Fontainebleau.
The Fontainebleau, another cool name.
Yes, very French.
You got Venetian. You got the Wynn Encore, some of my favorite places. You got Resorts World. A lot of stuff. Circus. Everyone's favorite.
Yes. Oh yeah.
All the big ones up
the
there.
big
right?
ones. Yeah, and you're putting circus in the same little.
My wife
sentences.
won't go in the
Fontainebleau.
circus. She refuses to go. And like I go and I like take guests or friends or whatever, my family. I'm like, hey, let's stop in the circus. And my wife is like, I refuse.
I've been one time.
Yeah.
It's like the Chuck E. Cheese. It's like training future gamblers to, you stay over there. It is crazy.
Sahara is another good one up there. Yeah. So, and I told her, I'm like, well, they did recently do like a $50 million remodel. And she's like, I don't care. Because when the time we went, it was, it's an old school, right? So they have super low ceilings. And I think they've repainted them a different color to make them appear taller. But back then it was like, my gosh, there's the ceilings right there. And kids, so it's like, hey, bring your kids to Vegas. And so anyone who has a family like brings their kids there. So there's like kids everywhere. Meanwhile, people are puking in trash cans and it was dirty. I don't blame her, but for me, I'm like, that's part of the fun is like, this place is a disaster.
I actually went Facebook Live when I was there, and with all the rides and stuff, I thought that stuff was pretty cool. That's
part of what they dump the money in is their Adventure Dome. It's they got
Adventure
like
Dome,
a theme park in the back, or I think
they definitely didn't dump any money on the casino floor.
No, they still. But you get some, some value gaming there. I think they still, or Slots of Fun, which is right after, or whatever it's called. I think they still have the original coin machines.
There's some of that, and
there's some aspects to it that I can get behind. But how did we end up talking about circus?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know, but I like Strat.
The Strat.
You're gonna have to edit this out if we're gonna make it 40
keep
minutes.
This is gold, and people love talking about their favorite casinos. And
I don't think so. No, I'm teasing.
You might be right. Who loves never understood bringing kids to Vegas? That's okay. Back in the 80s, that was a big push. So. Speaking, I said 80s. Do you have a time frame? When did he introduce this guy?
I had it up a second ago, and then I closed it.
I think it was 80s.
I'll pull it up, but yeah.
80s was when the big push was to bring your kids to Vegas. That's when they did the theming, right? Excalibur, New York, Circus, and now all these things are starting to be dated, and most casinos are now, hey, you know what? We just want a nice, clean, classy place. In the last 10 years, so. I think it was in the 80s, but not that he's the inventor, but he's certainly puts the credit for first one. Yeah, he gets credit for it because he obviously had the casino and he put it out on the floor. And the date's not important, Jim.
Yeah.
But go ahead and just tell us the difference between craps with the unfortunate name and a not a much better, probably worse name, crapless craps.
Yeah, and they actually managed to get the word crap in twice, which...
Crapless. Yeah, they did. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Crapless crap. It's just stupid. But anyway,
so
what's the difference?
So I've played only 3 or 4 times on it, and I've watched a number of your videos and watched another one today in preparation for this. But the biggest difference is there is no don't pass line. And that's a big difference. And then the other big difference there are a lot more box numbers.
Yeah,
a lot more box numbers. But they don't want to hear from me. Let's hear from Mr. ColorUp himself. What do you think are the biggest, just glaring differences?
Well, that's it. So the majority of players don't play the don'ts. So don't pass, don't come, right? So they make a bet on the pass line. It goes up to a number, and they may bet some other numbers, but they're hoping that the pass line. So the only thing that hurts you, though, is on that come-out roll, when you roll the 2, 3, and 12, craps, and you lose your daggone pass line. So what better would it be if no longer you have to worry about that? So now you don't have to worry about that.
Take that off your shoulders.
Yeah, they take it off your shoulders. They removed it from the layout. You don't even have to look at that stupid bet. And so now you make a pass line bet, and no matter what number rolls, You can't lose on the first roll.
Wow.
You can win. You still win with the 7-11.
No, on the 11 you
No,
win?
no, no. Yeah, that's right. You don't win on the 11 anymore. Sorry, I misspoke.
That's okay.
You win on the 7. Awesome. Or it moves to a number, so you don't have to worry about losing anymore. The problem, I don't know, is problem or a good thing, is now the puck or your bet can now be on the 2, 3, 11, or 12 in addition to the normal numbers, which, as we know, there's not very many dice combos, and it's very difficult to win now.
So on the first roll, let's get back to it again. Yeah. On the first roll, the only way you can win is with a 7. Yep. And remind us again, how many dice combinations
6.
give you 7?
6.
6.
Yeah. So 6 out of the 36. So you got a 1 in 6 chance of winning.
There you go.
Pretty good. The odds are in your favor. Greatly in your favor. Yeah.
Oh, really? Are they in your favor? 1 or 6 out of 36?
No,
you got
because
30 ways to not win.
Well, the thing, you have 0 ways to win or lose, though.
Okay.
So you're 6-0. Where the normal game, you're 6-4, or no, 6-3. No, you lose on the 2, 12, and 11. Yeah, 6-4. You're the 6-4 favorite, right?
Let's think. Well, I mean, I have this chart behind me. I could turn around and look at it. But yeah, you've got 1 way on the 12, 1 way on the deuce,
and 2 ways on the 11. Or no, the 11's a winner. I'm sorry,
11's a winner.
The normal game
is a 2-1 advantage.
Yeah,
it should be
you're 8 ways to win, 4
4
ways to lose.
Right, 8-4.
I don't know why I got that confused. 8 ways to win on 4 games to lose on the standard game. 2-1 favorite. Amazing.
On the first roll.
Yeah. Well, now when you go to crapless, though, now it's 6 ways to win and 0 ways to lose.
So it's a great game then, huh?
You can't lose.
Okay.
The problem is when your puck moves up and you calculate in, the 6 ways to win, 0 ways to lose, and then your puck moves to the 2, 3, 11, or 12, or whatever it moves to. The problem is now the house edge
starts getting up there.
Yeah. Do you have it in front of you? I know it's in the 5s.
Yeah. It's 7%. I think was the
7.
Yeah, I'll pull it.
I thought it was 5 something, but it's significant. It's so. I mean, people call the field a sucker bet or whatever. It is now a sucker bet essentially if you're playing the pass line. They still do have the come bet, and but essentially any number can become the point now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good and bad. So if you're a place better like me, essentially, doesn't affect the game. You bet 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10. It's the same game. Doesn't change. But now you have, which is kind of cool. For some people like this. You have the additional. You can bet a place bet on the 2, 3, 11, and 12, and they don't have to be a one roll bet. You don't have to hop them, or make a prop bet in the middle where it's a one roll bet. Yes, they pay more, 15 or 30 to 1, but you can now make a bet on the 2, and the only way to lose your bet now is the 7. So you don't have to worry about anything except for the 7. So that's why people love this game.
It's I played it a couple 3 times, and maybe 4 times, and I've actually had pretty good success playing it 2 out of the 4 times. And it's not a good game for a low house edge player.
If you're worried about the math, this is not the game.
It is not the game.
This is worse than going from like blackjack 3-2 to 6-5. I mean, this is bad.
I played it in. Well, actually, I played it in Cherokee. I played it in Biloxi, and I played it in most recently with actually one of the guys who's listening now is Greg C. And it did pretty well with those. The other 2 times, not so much.
So your normal game,
so
you're a come better with odds. So
yes.
Is this how you play it on crapless?
I tried it that way. Yeah, I tried it.
So, I mean. So you hear the math people like preach, if you're going to play, you got to play full odds, right? And now you make your come bet, and it goes to the 2. Jim, you got to add full odds to that
You got
2.
you got it. You got to, right?
I mean, let's see. So it would be one way to win, 6 ways to lose, 6 to 1, right? So that true odds, your odds are going to pay
Heck
6
of
to
a
1.
payout. Yeah, heck of a payout.
That's awesome. So if you put your $10 bet and they allow 5 times odds, now you get a $50 bet,
Oh, and by the way, you were correct. The 7% was on those outside numbers. The overall house edge is 5.382% according to the Wizard of Oz.
5.8. Okay.
Yeah. 5.382.
5.38.
Yeah.
So 5.4. Yeah, not very good.
No.
And the thing is, yeah, you're on the 2 or you're on the 3.
You're out there.
Pays great, right? 3 to 1, 6 to 1. But boy, I mean, the chances are that, you only have a 1 in 6 chance of rolling.
Oh my gosh. But what's so crazy about it is, I never believe because I believe in every roll is independent. But, to win, you have to roll the number twice.
Right.
You remember that?
Yeah.
But when you're out there on the pass line and one of those get up there, you just feel like everybody's at the table is looking at you like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of like, okay, I just give up on that number. And you know what? Let's make some place bets.
Yeah. I've tried it, and even that doesn't work for me. I've tried to go to the inside,
you haven't had enough sessions if you'd only played
it. That's true. That's true. But hey, one of the questions in the comments by Jeff, and I know we're going to take the monster roll, but this one pertains to one of your videos. They talked about laying the 12. And do you know of any casinos currently where you can lay any of those crapless? Can you lay any numbers on them? Can you think of any?
I don't know the list. I tried to look it up. I'm aware and I have reports that yes, there are some.
Okay.
This is a conversation that was on my favorite podcast. You can bet on that. I listen to those guys all the time, but they said there's no lay bets, and there's no layout that says lay bets, but I think at the time we had a club member who was a dealer at the Strat.
Okay.
And they allowed lay bets, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So again, it's not printed, or there's not on most tables there's an extra little box on the top for don'ts or lay bets. So there's no don't come, or so you don't have a traveling bet. But I'm told, or there are reports that some casinos, somewhere in the Midwest as well, that you can make lay bets.
Okay. One of our club members, Greg, just said you can lay
Hollywood
at the Strat.
Columbus is another one I've heard of. Yeah, that's
Okay.
another one. So there are places that allow it. So, if you're a hybrid player, that seems like a good bet, right? You lay money on, except for it's expensive, right?
Oh, yeah, because you got to bet it twice as much to win.
Well,
is it still the same thing?
It's true odds, right? So on the 2 and 12, you got to lay 60 to win 10.
Oh, wow.
So if you're trying to protect like 100 inside, you need to make a $600 lay bet to win back 100. Yeah. Woo. But the 12 will never roll, right? So I'm protected, but
or more than, yeah, because he's right, more than twice, because you would lay twice on the 4 and the 10. So on the 11 it would be 3, and then on the 12 and the 2 you'd lay 6. Oh my god!
Because that's the true odds, yeah. So
$600.
$600 to win back 100, and then your vig. So it's like. We're never going to roll it until it rolls, right? And then you're like, now I got to make up $600. So, I don't, I've never done that myself, but, it does give you an opportunity to, and it made me think of another thing is the all tall small. We've talked about this before is, when you get down to it, you can't lay, a lot of times the 2 or the 12 is missing.
Right.
And there's no way to kind of protect that unless it's one of the other box numbers. But essentially, if there was an all tall small on a crapless table, you could lay against the missing number. And,
I didn't even think about that and guarantee you how habsy. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's one thing I hadn't thought about, that one.
So it opens up some interesting aspects to the game. And then, of course, for those in the community who believe they're better rollers than you, a random roller.
I am a random roller. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll plead the fifth. What I am, I'm a professional roller. I'll just leave it at that.
All right.
You're a random roller, so we can make fun of you. And there are
Yes.
plenty of people who think they can roll lots of numbers. And hey, this is great, right? This is an
Oh
opportunity
yeah,
to win on all the
I'm pulling
numbers.
for them when I'm at the table. I'm pulling for everybody.
Yeah. So you can bet on all the numbers. I don't have the place bet payouts in front of me, and I'm not familiar with them because I don't deal them all the time. But I do. The flip side of my layout is a crapless craps layout. I don't get very many dice advice submissions. So
Okay.
if you have a strategy for crapless craps, submit it on my website. There's a forum at colorup.club and submit. And I'd love to make some more crapless crap videos. It seems to be, it came out a long time ago, but just in the last couple of years, it seems to be popping up in all the casinos. I think I was in maybe St. Louis. They had more crapless tables than they had standard tables.
Oh wow.
So it's very popular there. And it just seems like every casino's got at least one table.
I can see the advantage to the casinos.
Well, yeah, we went from 1% to 5.4%.
Yeah, the house edge goes through the roof. But the other thing is training of the dealers. You don't have that whole dark side stuff to worry about, the payouts, because that's always a what do you call it? It slows up, especially if it's a big player at a smaller table and they're putting a lot of money out there. It kind of slows things up a little bit.
Yeah, and then teaching the game, like, oh, you just make a pass line bet, whatever it moves to, now that's your bet, instead of like, well, 7-11 you win, 2-3 12 you lose, and then if it moves, all half of that is just eliminated. And then we're talking about some casinos have lay bets, but that's going to be pretty rare. So now you don't have to worry about anything. The game is just, if the 7 rolls, you're going to lose. So other than that, bet on any number, and
Hope
if you
for
roll
the
it back,
best.
you win. Good luck. So I see a lot of advantages to it.
Given
But-
the choice, which table would you go to?
I mean, I'm a standard craps player, I guess. I mean, if it was a lower table limit, like if it was 15 on the standard and 10 on crapless, I'd play crapless, just because I'm not a come better.
Because
Right, if I was a
normally to bet on these, if you want to bet on the 2, 3, or 12 or 11, you have to make a horn bet. And one of our guys, Tom, just made a comment, one of our regular listeners, and that's a 1-roll bet. And that's time after time after time.
You could make it for as low as $1, though. But yeah, now you're talking
depending
about,
on the table.
$10, $15. But yeah, it stays up. So as long as you could avoid the 7 and it could stay up, you could make significant, it could be a good payoff,
Oh yeah, and with me personally, on the times that I played, and I've played with ColorUp members twice, and most recently was up at National Harbor. I got up double, but then I gave it most of it all back, and I think we talked about that one. But I think I finished up a little bit on that. But when we were at one of our regional meetups down in Cherokee, I played with a couple of them, and Caps fan, that's what I meant, and Whistle were down there, and I lost most of my bankroll on the first day. There was a snowstorm, and playing crapsless, and then I had a little bit of bankroll left. I went on the roll to win table, won some money back on that, and had enough to go back to the crapless. And I think at Cherokee they did have and I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think they did have the ATS on that as well, on the crapless, and that was a pretty big day. And then a couple years ago, after DiceCon, flew out and met Demon Dog, and they did not open up the regular table. I said, no, I'm not going to play it again, and it was like several hours, and I flew all the way to Indianapolis, the Horseshoe over there, going Horseshoe, and finally I gave in. I played, and then later that night they opened it up. That was one of my all-time best sessions. So I was very, very lucky with those. But
so were you mixing in place bets or doing your normal?
So no, I did. I mixed in some place bets.
Okay.
I went inside.
Now, do you do this just because you know that the math is so bad on these come bets, or you're like, man, I don't want to lay, place?
Yes. All of the above.
Okay.
I'm just throwing money at a bad problem.
Okay.
And
okay.
but I did get lucky,
Yeah.
and I won enough to where I could get on the regular craps table, and that was one of the best sessions I ever had. And I've got the pictures of the chip porn to go with it.
I've seen it a few times. Like the last time I was in the Sahara, and then actually this past week at not New York, MGM Grand.
Mm-hmm.
Walking through early in the morning, the first table and only table that was open, crapless craps.
There you go.
It's like, obviously they're not,
That's the casino's go-to thing is crapless, and then but I try like the last time I flew down to Biloxi, and speaking of that, we've got a member down there right now, 10 times odds on a crapless table at Beau Rivage.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to the crapless table and your point is 2 or 12, any of the numbers, doesn't matter which box number, you can go 10 times odds on that.
Yeah.
And then get that crazy payout. It's just mind.
Yeah, so $10 line bet, so you can make $100 odds bet on the 2.
Yes.
And it'll pay
Yes.
6 times, so $600.
$600.
610.
Yeah,
Don't
actually,
forget the fast line bet.
don't forget about your $10. Yeah.
But yeah,
tip
there's
the
no
dealer
house
with
edge
that.
on that bet, Jim.
Very
But it just
low
costs
house
you
edge.
It just costs you $100
And
to win
peace of
600.
mind. Yeah, a lot of peace of mind.
Completely fair game.
But there's a big difference, though, in the whole table. But there's some excitement at that table, too.
Yeah.
There really is. And I can see there's some people who only go for the crapless craps. And there's some people who say, hey, it doesn't matter to me. It's all crap anyway.
Yeah,
But,
well, I mean, when you could bet on numbers that don't, like you said, aren't one roll bets,
mm-hmm.
and they pay so well, like, I'm certainly not going to be doing it, but when the guy, a couple people are playing it and they're going to be cheering because they're like, oh my gosh, we hit the 3. Yes. It's almost like the all tall small. It's that anticipation. Like we just hit this hard to hit number.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to pay so well. Like I get it. I get
it's
the
better
allure.
than a 4 or 10. I mean, it's a totally different screen when you hit a 12 or a 2.
Yeah, exactly. So there, I mean, there are definitely some allure, but the casino they're happy too. So I guess it's a win-win. If the customers are liking it, they don't have to worry about the come out roll, and then you can establish high paying points. Customers happy, the casino's happy that they've now jacked the house edge through the roof.
It's crazy.
Roulette. It's essentially roulette at over 5%. Double zero roulettes in the 5% range, and that's why we make fun of roulette players.
Mm-hmm.
But we're right there with you, roulette.
Yeah,
roulette.
Hey, roulette. We did get a question and a strategy suggestion on here. I'll go to the question first from Jeff. It says he wanted to know: are crapless craps tables, do they have a lower minimum bet? Like the 6 to 5 and blackjacks are lower than 3 to 2.
I've seen a mix. I don't know what your experience is, but I've seen some places where it's higher. Like when I was in St. Louis, because it's so popular, they were $15 tables, and the standard table had some dealers around it with like one player, and it was a $10 table.
Oh, wow.
Mostly, I see them in Vegas. They are cheaper. So... like I was in, was it Park MGM? Do they have one? I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, they have one. I've been to Park. They've got a crapless one.
I think some of the standard tables were 25 and they were 15.
Okay.
And then like in the morning, the other standards were 15 and crapless was 10. So I think it depends on how much the casino can how popular it is in your area, whether they can demand a bigger amount. But, it varies, so there's not an answer. It should be cheaper, but
you would think there'd be a discount for playing such a bad
house edge. No, but it's like, if they can do it. It's the funniest thing. I was speaking of Park MGM. They have, they're starting to do these roulette wheels that with 000, and the price is the same. You would think it would be cheaper because there's more ways to lose, but they advertise it as, hey, now there's more ways to win because you can bet on this 000.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, but the house edge again goes up again. So single
every
zero
time
is
they
like
add
2%.
one. Yeah.
Double zero, which is standard here in America, 5 something percent, and then I think triple zero is like 8 something percent. But yeah, it's a really bad game, and I'll see people sitting on it, and right next to it is an empty double zero game. It's kind of like the, people who know in blackjack are like, there's a 6 to 5 table and a 3 to 2. Yes, it makes sense when it's cheaper. This one's 25, this one's 10, but you'll see them at the same price, and you see people sitting at them. It's like, what are you doing there? So,
right.
If a craps table and a crapless table is the same price, you're like, what are you doing? Especially if you're a come better, what are you doing on a crapless table?
Yeah, it's a bad feeling. Now, our buddy, I don't know if I can highlight the things, but Greg put on there, if he's gets on a good roll, and the point is a horn number, he said that he likes to have continual come bets because you're unlikely to have those come bets at risk on the come out. So I guess he's just like putting it up there because if you get 7, at least that last one is a rebate, I guess, is what he's saying.
Yeah, well, again, like that's something you have to consider when you're a normal come better. I'm 2 to 1 favored in the come.
Right.
But 4 times, I got 4 ways. You don't even have to worry. It's stress-free game.
Yeah.
Now. Because no matter what, it's going to a number. You're not going to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
The 7 wins it, but you're not going to lose the bet. So it's at least traveling to a number.
Going somewhere.
Yeah.
And you could say off and on to 12.
Yeah, off and on. Pay me that 6 to 1 off and on,
yeah.
Sir. So, yeah, can you imagine a hot roll as a come better?
Yes. It's happened to me.
Craps would be amazing. So,
yeah, if it's a hot roll.
Yeah, if it's a hot roll. Because, you got to overcome a big house edge. But, man, if you roll a 25, 30 roller and you're just continuously come betting, should be pretty good.
You would think. Now, let me ask you this. How often have you played crapless craps as Mr. ColorUp?
I think like you, 4 times,
maybe
something like that. 4 or 5 times. But again, I didn't play it. I watched other people play it, but I place betted 4 through 10. So my game was the same game. Well, when I rolled, I had to make it a pass
line, right?
And I for the life of me, I think out of the 4 times I played, I think I only rolled once. I don't know what the point was. I think it was like a 4, so no big deal. But again, even though it's a 4, it's still a 5% house edge. But just a few times, and I just play in a way that it doesn't affect it. It's the same game.
So you just go inside and you spread out, or start pressing up or whatever. You don't even worry about those big payout numbers.
Mm-mm.
They're not enticing to you.
Not enticing enough for me. No, just because it's like the horn number, right? Like if I was willing to bet them, I'd just bet it on the horn for $1, but I'm not. So they are better
because they stay up.
Because they stay up. So and they're not going to pay true odds. I don't have the payouts, but they got to take their cut. So whatever 6 to 1 or whatever that is, they're going to pay a little less than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but I don't know. I guess
it's not your game.
Old school, yeah. So, but it does sound fun to just continuously come bet and then be hitting whatever. So, and for me, which is funny for me because I'm not a house edge preacher, right?
Right.
Like 1%, 3%. Yeah, it's going to affect you over the lifetime. Yeah, it's going to affect you maybe over the year, but this weekend, nah, you're going to win or lose. You got to get lucky. So if you're going to hit the 3, you're going to hit the 3. If you're going to bet on that good 6, which is 1.5%, you're going to hit the 6. You either are or you're not. So for me, house edge, when you go have some fun over the weekend, I don't know. Some people would disagree with me, but I think you can kind of throw the house edge out the window a little bit. So because I'm not really concerned about it, I should probably play those bets.
Well, what are you concerned about then if you're not concerned about the house edge?
Well,
are you concerned about anything?
I'm concerned about winning or losing.
Which means you ought to be thinking somewhat about the house edge, right?
Well, maybe. But, we're talking about 1 and 5%. Oh, my gosh, 1% you're right, 5% you're wrong? I don't know. Place bets on the 5 and 9 are 4%. Terrible bet in some people's eyes, right? But I don't know. If you're a 1% player, you're still not a professional craps player.
No, you're not.
No matter I've got such a great house edge game. You're not beating the casino just the same as the guy playing roulette at 5% is not beating the casino. So am I going to fault the guy playing 5% at roulette? No. Am I going to fault the guy playing 10% at slots? Yes, because I'm a little bit of a hick. No, I'm not, because if they have fun, sometimes they hit, but the math is not. So, yeah, I think I'm aware of the math. I'm not going to hammer those bets, and I wouldn't be a come better on a crapless table just because if you're going to play it on a regular basis, not a great idea. But, if you're having fun, it's $10 table versus the $25 table. You're with your friends. You don't stress about 1.5% versus 5%.
Okay.
I don't think.
All right.
Just ColorUp's opinion.
Right. Belly button. Everybody's got a belly button.
Everyone's got one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've thrown it. It sounds like you're not. Don't disagree with me because you've thrown the math out the window. You're playing crapless. You're mixing in some place bets. God forbid.
Yeah, I've done it a few times. Especially when like Caps or Craps fan, one of our club members, we were over there.
Peer pressure. You're saying someone's making you bet these terrible.
No, he's not making me. But when he's shooting or one of the other guys is shooting and they're hitting the 12, and we go around the table and the point's 12, you gotta, you feel like you gotta go for it.
Yeah.
And then you gotta throw some, because if you do, my luck, you got the 12, the 11, and the 3, and those are my 3 come bets.
Yeah.
Good luck on that.
Yeah.
Good luck on that.
Even without odds, it's like you got $30 out there on the desert islands.
Yes. They are very lonely, and you can just be sitting there a long time during that roll, and it's just the anxiety just builds up in your head, and you're thinking, why am I doing combats? Why am I doing this? What if I'm going to throw my money away, throw it somewhere else,
Well, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but that 5% is might be better than place betting them. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at some of the numbers now where he's got the odds over here, and the place bet pays.
There's different payouts, by the way, which in my research I found there was different payouts at different tables.
Yeah,
because there's some room to play with.
Mm-hmm. And off your videos, you recommended the buy bets.
Well, yeah, anything down the 4, yeah.
It cut the house edge way down on those. When you bought the 2 and the 12, commission on the win only, the house edge was only 0.71.
Okay,
according to the Wizard of Oz.
See, again, good bet, but it's hard to hit. So is it a good bet or is it bad? It's only
one
a good
out
bet if you hit it.
If you hit it, yeah, one out. And the 3 and the 11 are 1.25%. If you're buying commission only on the win. But if you have to pay the vig up front, it's on the 2 and the 12, it's 4.76. And
not good.
Yeah, 4.76 on the 3 and 12, according, again, to Wizard of Oz website tonight.
What's interesting is, and I don't know the answer, but a lot more Vegas casinos are going to automatic buy bets on the 4 and 10.
Okay.
So, and then so they just put them up as place bets. Even places like MGM Grand, I was watching, bet $25. They just put it as a place bet, but they pay. They say, hey, drop me $1, and they pay out $50. So I'm curious if more places are going to automatic buys, if they're automatically buying those extreme outside numbers, which is cool. $10 bet, and then you got to pay. Well, probably $20 they'd buy it.
Yeah, it's probably 20, I would think.
So you get paid
big money,
$120 for a $2 vig, right?
Like in your video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in fact, on one of the videos, the intro video on your first one, on your other layout, you actually had the 12 roll. You placed it or bought it, and then you actually hit it on the one I watched, and actually made enough money off that one hit to where it covered everything else. But you only ran it a couple of times. You only rolled a couple times, I think, on that one.
Yeah, I'd love to do more strategies and just try it out.
We got to get some people to submit them though to your
submit
website.
Some stuff. I mean, I guess I can think of. Essentially, it's gonna think of some. I don't know how just you're covering more number. It's just wild. Like someone mentioned in the comments, like, dealer, give me a cross, please. Like it brings whole new meaning to betting across all the numbers. $10 table, you're at $104. Is that right? You got 10 numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 10 numbers, and then
you got to be proper on that.
6 and 8, another $4. So $104 across on a $10 table. So a little wild.
It's a big pocketbooks there.
Little different, but hey, like we said, if the numbers
2
are
hits
rolling,
and come down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there are. Yeah, I guess strategies would be. It would be interesting to see different strategies submitted for the game, and I'm willing to roll them out and test them. So I think it'd be fun to flip my layout over and roll some for sure.
Our buddy Jeff there said, if you think about it, his comment, it's kind of like playing the ATS. Since the other numbers are way easier to hit, and ATS falls, and he's right. Usually the ATS. Usually it's not a 6 or an 8 that you're waiting on.
Yeah, right.
It's one of the extremes.
It's one of these 2, 3, 11, or 12s. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a way of looking at it, Jeff. Definitely on that one. So pretty.
And like we said before, I think it adds a little more excitement to it.
There's a lot of. I'm telling you, it's electric at these places. But for my style of game, and you and I are the exact opposite. You can go in there and just say, hey. You can't say what does that even mean? Inside numbers on a crapless table. What does that mean? Is that the?
That's a good point.
Is there a language for that?
I don't know. I mean, like I haven't played enough to be familiar. I'm just talking out of my rear here, but I would assume they would say inside would just to keep it the same. If you said inside, they'd be. Well, no, shoot. You'd think you would add the 4 and 10 even, but. I would say inside, outside, extreme. Outside. Like I don't know. I don't know the language or the lingo for that. That is a good question.
Here's one of our guys who jumped in and said inside's the same.
I would assume that. Old school, yeah. But I don't. Yeah, I imagine there's some lingo for the regulars there that are being like, I want. How do you say? You don't want 2 and 12 because those are too extreme. But I want to bet all the numbers 3 through 11 across the numbers. So. Yeah. The horn numbers are extremes, but how do you differentiate between 2 and 12 and 3 and 11? Like the extremes and the ultra extreme.
Super extreme.
Super extremes. I want the 2 and 12 added to my bet. So, yeah, I don't play the game enough to know the language, and there's not a, I don't know.
Overall, do you like it?
Yeah. I mean, I like the option of why not? Because I do think it really is a win-win. If the players like it, they don't care about the house. I mean, that part of it does kind of stink, that there's big house edge, but I don't know, 5% is not the end of the world. But the fact that, because a lot of players do get stressed out, like my come bets, my pass line, but they don't have to worry about losing to the craps numbers anymore. So it's just fun. Just makes the game simple. I only have to worry about the 7. When those outside numbers roll or repeat, big payoffs, a lot of fun. So it adds some excitement to the game. It eliminates, half the negative parts of the game. So I see a place for it for sure.
Yeah, I don't overall. Even though I've been very successful more times than not on that particular game, and again, it's pure luck. To me, it's pure randomness. But like I said, my biggest wins ever were at a crapless table. That being said, for the way that I play, it's no good. In fact, I was on a charter flight. We went down to Biloxi, and we were staying at the Caesars property down there, and They just had all day long. They just had the crapless table open. They didn't open up the other one. And of course, I want to play a little bit, so I want to keep getting offers. And I lost my shirt, and then I tried it. Hey, when are you guys open? And it's not the same game for the way that I play. So I got mad. I walked across the street and down a ways past the amusement park and went over to the Golden Nugget, and they had a regular craps table open, and I got lucky over there, and somebody hit the ATS, and I won my money back, and actually used that to get some rooms this past year for DiceCon, because they're tied into the Golden Nugget that was downtown. So it worked out pretty good.
I would add an asterisk to my comment of, people were afraid of like, oh, electronic machines are going to take over. Like, I love it as an option for players who would have fun with it. Great option. I'm probably going to stick to the traditional game. I love it as an option, but I would be concerned. My asterisk would be if it starts taking over. And when you're talking about, I mentioned I've seen him. First table open was a crapless.
Yep.
I didn't have an option. If you don't have an option, that sucks to me.
Yes.
As an additional fun game, sure, but have the main game open for us players, please, first. So that would be my middle.
Keep the crap
additional.
in craps. Right?
Yeah, let's keep the crap in crap.
There you go. That's our fighting.
And only additionally remove the crap from craps as an, I don't know.
Less crap after we have crap. But you can't have less crap
unfortunate name.
Yeah, it's a terrible name.
Terrible name.
Terrible.
All right. Any final thoughts? We could wrap this up and we can head to the monster roll.
No. To me, it's two different games based on the way I play. Yeah. But again, the way you play, and it might depend on the individual, and also that's my comments. It's different. Like you said, you can't lose on the first roll, but you can definitely lose at it.
Yeah. All right. I think that does it for another episode of the ColorUp Craps. Thank you for watching. I'm going to try and be professional here. Check out the website. Submit your dice advice strategy at colorup.club. You can become a member. Get cool stuff, collectibles, and swag. And if you're a green member, what else can I say?
We're powered by Sports Grid.
Powered by Sports Grid, which is, our main...
Pushing out
us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. We got my sister chiming in here. Thank you for listening. We're available we're live Sunday nights on Facebook, YouTube. So you always want to catch us live if you can, whenever I'm not busy. We're pretty regular. Regular. Usually. Yeah, I do need to add that. Usually Sunday nights at 8 p.m. And until next time, next week, maybe, usually, good luck on coloring up. All right, let's open it up to the people.
Yeah.
Powered by the people, and see what they have to say. I mean, we've got
a few right now.
Here. Yeah. Now's your time to let me know if you hate this crapless craps, you like the crapless. I'm curious. My Naomi says it's a great episode, but I gotta imagine she doesn't know what we're talking about. We've got pretty in depth in the numbers.
Yeah,
numbers and kind
are
of.
you sure she
knows the game?
Are you sure she's not like a closet crapless
She might
player?
be. I mean, she may be a player at this point. I mean, she lives close to Columbus. Is probably her closest casino. We know they have. Maybe she lay bets on the crapless tables there in Columbus, Hollywood.
That's how she makes her money. Lay to 12, please. Lay to 12.
My wife says she doesn't know what we're talking about. That's believable.
Okay.
She says she's kidding, but I think she doesn't. She probably knows the difference between crapless and crapless. But Jeff says, I think you hit all the points. For place bettors, it's fine, but for pass come bettors, it's like opting into playing 6 to 5. Yeah. Well, 6 to 5. What is the house edge on a 6 to 5? I think it's worse than that.
I gotta look it up. I'll look it up on the thing since we.
It's like opting in from if you had an option from 0 to 00 for sure. Yeah, it's choosing a bad game. Choosing a bad game. Let's see. Tom says pure deuce side of crapless. No, don't. No hybrid, no hedge. But some players are hedge players. So what better way to hedge it than betting a 6 to 1 12, to protect your bets. But yeah, it does seem like a lot of fun when when Craig mentioned just continuously come bets.
Yeah.
And you get a decent roll. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you're short on the bankroll though, and it's jumping up there.
Yeah, this game probably I would say would be a more expensive game.
Yeah.
Greg said it definitely takes more specific talking to get the bets right. So again, it sounds like in his experience, he hasn't seen a lot of people.
Well,
there's
actually,
not like a standardized language.
He was, in fact, last time I think we played, when I was with him, there was some problems with the dealers getting bets straight, if I remember.
Automatic buy and pay the VIG on win should be the casino norm. Wouldn't that be nice? I heard on, again, you can bet on that. They were talking about, I don't think they were talking about crapless, but they were talking about somewhere, and I'm not sure where it was, but they do VIG on the win for the, and they even did on the 5 and 9, which you only see usually like in Biloxi. But now they've lowered it from the $20. I think you have to make like a $50 bet to get the VIG on the win or something like that. It's just, or no, they wouldn't let you buy it until it was a $50 bet. So you have to place bet it until 50, and then at 50, then you can pay a VIG.
Yeah, that's just kind of.
So like, why would you make? I don't know. So some of these casinos, but it would be great if they were all automatic buys, and it is cool to see that more and more Vegas is starting to do automatic buy in 4 and 10s.
Well, maybe that'll pick up elsewhere, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Let me see. I'm trying to find just a straight up table that'll tell me the difference between 3-2 and 6-5 blackjack. It
depends, right? Like if you play perfect strategy, there's a lot of variables in blackjack, I guess. But
so maybe that's why they're saying, it can.
They're giving you ranges.
Yeah, because I can't find a straight up chart on that.
Yeah, and depending on the blackjack rules, if there's surrender, if it gets
17
complicated
and stuff. So
right,
maybe
where they
more to it.
stand.
Okay.
I'm trying to look through some comments if we haven't missed any. Jeff says he can't roll a lot of numbers. He's a terrible shooter. Just got to have a positive energy, Jeff. Change your thoughts around.
There was a Jeff I knew who was a really good bettor on women's tennis. So, part of our dice con thing.
Dice Grinder says, crapless is great if you can. Yeah, so like if you're a dice controller, right, and you feel like your dominant numbers, they talk about certain numbers you roll, your certain dice sets could bring up these numbers. Sounds like an ATM machine, right?
Yeah,
it sounds like a great game.
If, yeah.
Stop it. You gave too many ifs there. We only need one if. We don't need your negative 3 ifs
I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm pulling for everybody. I know I'm getting a reputation as a non-believer.
I'm pushing it a little bit. I'm actually just as skeptical as you, but I give you a hard time on it. I let you take the brunt of.
I'll maybe that's why I'm even here is to take arrows.
You're here so I could just blame you on the bad stuff. Deflect. Yeah. We got a Brownies fan. It looks like.
Oh, good.
That's good. I think you told me your team, and it didn't make sense because you're in Virginia.
Yeah, Miami Dolphins. Yeah.
That's right. Which Tua came back.
Yeah, and they seized defeat from the jaws of victory again this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they lost to the Cardinals.
So very interesting. I know it was in the news because he was like, "I'm not wearing one of those padded."
He needs to.
Guardian
he needs
hats,
to not play. He needs to not play, in my opinion.
Yeah. So. Well, the NFL cleared him. His team cleared him. I don't know. I mean, they have millions of dollars invested in him. I guess they're like, use him until he's completely brain dead, or I don't know, but. Yeah, it is a weird.
And I didn't see the interview, but somebody said even the interview that he was giving to come back, he didn't seem like his normal self. But I haven't seen it. That's just what was said.
Okay. Hopefully that's not the case.
Hey, here's a good one right here. By the way, the DIers should
you just was able to pull it up,
huh? It did at that time. I don't know why. Did you make me the co-host or something?
I haven't done anything different.
Okay.
Click on something else. We've got a breakthrough here, folks.
Yeah, let's see. How about Jeff. Yeah. Voila. Was it because I was in the room first? Maybe.
I mean, I don't know, but we'll have to check it next time. Or have you always in the room?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see if it makes a difference. But what do you think? I know we got, at least we had a couple minutes ago, the DI people, and I know we've got Joe and some other ones that are in here. Maybe they can comment or something. But I would think that they would love the game just for the fact that they can dial it in.
It's more numbers to win on.
Yes.
And if you do, roll those particular numbers or can bring them up more than average, I mean, it's like a no,
Unless they are come better, unless there's a DIer who's a come better or a molly or don't. Or maybe it's good to be the...
I mean, once you're... I don't know of anyone who's claiming they can overcome a house edge of, 6% with dice control, but, certainly people... Usually the ones you hear, I'm like, hey, stick, your line bets with odds where you're under 1%, 0.5%, 0.25%. So it doesn't take much to sway the math in your favor. So, but like you said, if you're allowed to buy these out extreme numbers and you can roll them, I would say DI should prefer crapless craps. I would think.
Yeah. And I think too with the I know sometimes they change their sets to go to different ones, and here's a reply. It says Joe is not to roll his goal is not to roll specific numbers. He tries to prolong the 7 or roll repeat numbers.
Right, but again, like if you could bet on those numbers and they're not one roll bets, those are, you hear about wasted rolls. They're no longer wasted rolls. They're rolls that you can win money on, right? So that's a positive. And there are kind of two camps. Some people I don't think anyone's like, hey, I can roll 5s, but they're like, I tend to roll
in this set. With this set, I roll
with this set, I
numbers.
tend to roll the 5 and 9. I tend to roll the 4 and 2. Maybe they tend to roll the 3 and 11, with this set or something like that. Then it would, I would say it certainly makes sense because again, they're not wasted rolls anymore. Mm-hmm. So that is a benefit of the game, I would say, because it is a bummer when I, like a 6-8 player, or even like me, an inside player, 5 through 9, and it's like, it's the 2, and then it's the 4, and then it's the 11, and then it's the 12, and then it's the 10. It's like, the roll could be 15. I never rolled one of my numbers, and then there's the 7. Like we got a 15 roller, but with this game, you can eliminate because you can bet them all.
Oh yeah. Hey, here's one here that. You mentioned cruising at the beginning. I almost stopped you because you were giving too many hints as to which cruise you were going to be going on. But Jeff said, did you ever consider using the hedgehog for the cruise line comp strategy? Or
I mentioned I did. I played it in my last cruise, but only.
He's going to the book. He wrote it down.
We get the data here. Which session was that? Let's just say it did not go well.
Rebecca says, not the book. Not the book.
This is important, folks.
Now you're looking like an old man. You're wearing a brown hoodie.
I don't need glasses yet, so I actually
okay.
Read,
okay.
But, I do. It is a little chicken scratch, but I don't. Why did I not write that down? Day 5, no rating hedge slot. Day 4, day 5. My wife was there, but it was like I said, you know what? I'm going to use $100.
Okay.
And do a $10 hedgehog. So hedgehog is just come, don't come, don't come,
right.
don't
come.
Back
and forth.
And 10 minutes, it lasted the $100. It just very specifically, like I'd make a come bet, I'd roll a crap number, and it would lose. Mm-hmm. Or, a don't would travel to the 9. I'd roll a 9 back. It would lose. It would just like what could go wrong did go wrong. So because I only played 10 minutes, I think I switched to something else, so I can at least get a like half-hour session of playing. And I did have it written down of how much my rating was.
Oh, you asked them, or you could like put your card.
Or
and
you could
could
put
see
your
it
card in the
an eye.
machine, and
Yeah.
you could see how many points you earned for that half hour. But so I really don't know because I was on, like I said, $100 lasted me like 10 minutes. So I don't know.
Not very long.
My idea would be $25 bets and play all night, right? And
In theory.
and get rated for maybe 6 of those bets, so maybe like 150. But I don't know how they would rate because I just did, it just what could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah. Uh-oh. And Rebecca must not be in the same building with you right now.
No, she is
Yes.
working, so she's probably either flying. Well, she must be landed somewhere.
Yeah. I'm a reason why I said that because she's throwing up. Where did it go? Did I put it up there? Here we go. She said because you were mad.
Yeah, I think she's a believer in not karma, but good vibes or whatever.
Yeah.
She could tell when I'm like, I hate losing money, Jim. And I can handle some losses, but when it's like the game, those certain situations, the game is just beating you, and you're like, oh, I just get so. She could probably my face turns. I don't know, but I do get a little
emotional,
upset.
upset.
Not visibly. I'm not mean to any players around me or anything like that, but like she knows,
And speaking of she knows, here's a trivia question for America. What is the worst airport
This is an opinion,
in America?
Unless they have taken some.
I don't know. Maybe there's a survey or something. What do you think, guys? What's the worst airport in America?
We all get sour when it's nonstop losing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
hard to be hype. It's hard to be hype.
It's hard to keep the energy and keep the smile on your face, like, because, this is the greatest game, and then whenever you're on the losing streak, it's like, oh my gosh.
It's a fact. Hold on. She said it's a fact. It's not opinion. Worst airport in America.
I'll tell you, she's going to end up in Austin tonight, supposedly, unless she can't get out of the worst airport. But
let's see.
I watched a guy play the hedgehog, and boy, was he giddy. He couldn't stop laughing. Expound on that, Tom. Was he winning, or was he just ecstatic that he was just time at the table, or just 5-hour layover? That's nothing. I think last night she was at the same airport because she was going up to New Hampshire. What's the town there in New Hampshire?
There's a town in New Hampshire.
At least one town.
There's an airport there. I don't know.
Not Bridgeport. That's Connecticut.
We're not going on
Professor.
Jeopardy anytime soon.
You're not helping me.
I'm not geography though.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
You know it as soon as you hear it, but yeah, I think the planes were broken. They had someone peed in a seat. They had a delay for that. Just everything. I think she was there like all day. I think finally they left. I think it was supposed to leave like at 8. They left at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m.
Wow.
She landed like at 5. I don't know. Some crazy stuff, but she always says it's because of this particular airport. A double pitch hard way set will increase your odds of throwing a 7. That's some technical craps throwing stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Shep, our my DiceCon buddy. Hey Shep, there is nothing more frustrating.
Tend not to. This should be a show. Like, do you switch strategies? Try to chase.
We could talk about that. But every time I've done it, I was at a table on a cruise ship, and it was the last night, and I had a little bit of bankroll left, and I was rolling my come bets. and I was doing straight standard continuous come bets, got them all up there, got them all with odds, and I'm like, yes. And then here comes 7, and I said, you know what, I'm sick of this. Last little bit of bankroll. Here comes all the I'm playing don't pass. I got the big odds in the back. I got the don't come bets going. I get all the box numbers all, and I go on this monster roll, and I pick every one off. And I mean every last one off. And then finally, I rolled the 7 and knock out the thing. And even the dealers were saying, Mr. James, don't do this. Don't do this, Mr. James. It's not your day, Mr. James. Please.
It's never been my experience switching strategies worked. I usually like to stick and hope that the dice come back around, but which is totally opposite from these trend players. You know, my comment section, YouTube players are the smartest craps players in the world because they're always like, bro, you can tell when the table's turning and you can just follow the trends. I'm like, I wish I knew because, you know, I'm a big believer in the trend is over on the next roll of the dice. And I don't know, there just seems to be so many people that are like, they can follow the trends and like, well, now it's time to switch.
Tea leaves. Yeah. It's hard.
So,
hey, we got a winner on the trivia.
Do we?
Well, not on the trivia, but Manchester is
Manchester is the biggest city
in New Hampshire.
In New Hampshire, but I don't think that's where she went. I think she was
at the
in,
airport. I mean, I could Google it and open up a tab.
Thought she said Rochester, but I always think
Rochester's New York. I thought
they do have a top 5 city in New Hampshire is Rochester. Concord? Maybe I'm mistaken.
Concord, New Hampshire sounds right. Or no, Concord.
Maybe it was Vermont. Concord. Was she in Vermont? I don't know where she was. I guess it doesn't matter. But
Rhode Island, Providence.
Okay,
there we
go. I was way off. See how bad I am. Yeah, she was in Providence.
Providence, Rhode Island.
That is not the worst airport, and because I couldn't think of the biggest city in Rhode Island. Like you, I'm geographically deficient, so I'm like, what cities in Rhode Island? I couldn't name a city in Rhode Island until you hear Providence. You're like, oh yeah, Providence, but.
Yeah, it's not. And what's bad about that is
But you're an East Coast guy.
I know. That's what I was getting ready to say. I'm on the East Coast. You would think I'd be more familiar with some of these little places, but I can tell you one thing: there must not be a casino there because I've never heard of it. But Dover, Delaware, I can tell you that they've got
Dover Downs.
There.
I know horse racing.
Well, yeah, now it's Bally's.
Okay,
Bally's Dover is what it is. But yeah, they had Dover Downs Speedway over there, and they do have a horse track and a racetrack over there too. So it's pretty cool.
Tom gave me an answer of why he was so giddy. He just wasn't going anywhere. If anything, he lost a lot. He just didn't care. Yeah, and I think that's the point. I don't know if you've noticed. I've added that as one of my standards. When I review a strategy, I always show 3-point mile. Yeah, I compare strategies with the data.
Right,
3-point
standard,
Molly, 3-point dolly.
Yeah,
and now I add the hedgehog because it's usually it doesn't win, it doesn't lose, it just floats in the middle. So it is an interesting. It's kind of a pointless way to play, but I mean, if your goal is to just sit there and like his friend or whatever, I mean, it makes sense.
And then Rebecca says she was not there now, so that's not the worst airport. She wants it to be on the record that Providence is a cute
Jim,
airport.
what's the worst airport there on the East Coast?
We used to say LaGuardia.
That's what I would have guessed.
But it's been redone. I don't know if all the terminals have been. That would have been an old, easy guess. Oh, well, that's nice. Thank you, Joe.
No
Appreciate
excuse. He's
that.
an East Coaster.
Yeah. Let's see.
Craftsmasters providing some content for us, giving us general questions that could be show topics.
Yeah, which would be your go-to casino?
Hippodrome, London. No. I take that back.
They don't
Monte
have
Carlo.
craps in. They don't have craps in.
I've heard at one point they did. They had it like the top floor, and then it was at the basement, and sometimes it doesn't. But I believe they are the only casino in London, England, that has a table. Is the Hippodrome. But I changed my mind. I would want to go to Monte Carlo. I'd want to see like an F1 race, and go. I don't think they have
And a $5 table.
Well, yeah, that's not happening. But it probably roulette. And
Yeah.
I think you required to have a tuxedo to go
Yes,
in.
probably.
I don't know. I've seen too many James Bond movies or something, I guess is why. But man, that would be pretty, just to see the chandeliers and all the people in tuxedos playing. And yeah, I think that would be where I would want to travel.
You know which one I really enjoy the best is Cherokee.
You always say that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've got to get you out there. There's no airport. Really, it's hard to get to, especially now since part of the highway's washed away. Although I think you can still get there. I know you can still get there some other way, but anyway, it's got a lot of tables. The dealers are great. There's 8 tables there. The minimums are relatively low, so
I've always heard Cherokee doesn't go below 25.
No. Well, they go below 25 in the morning when I've been there. Sure. The one that it doesn't go but low 25 usually is that one up around National Harbor up in. But I think Greg said that they've been.
I'm thinking of like Maryland
15.
Live. I'm thinking of
some of
even
those guys.
15's a little steep for me because.
And you're not worried about House Edge, but $15 tables got you quaking in your boots. But I love Cherokee because you can go in there and play. It's a nice big open casino, no smoking, and then you can go outside, go in the mountains. If it's summertime, you can do tubing. My wife and I, Bonnie, like to hike. It is absolute blast over there. So, but yeah, that would be mine.
Have you been to Blackhawk, Colorado?
Yeah, I went there with you.
Oh yeah. Have you been to Deadwood, South Dakota?
No, I have not been to South Dakota yet.
That one's a pretty cool one. Just because it's like in western, little whatever.
But I love Biloxi also. Yeah.
I haven't been there. I know a lot of people talk about.
You got to get down there.
What is up there? Is it New York or Maine? Foxwoods and Mohegan.
Foxwoods,
are like across the
Mohegan
street.
up that way. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So if they don't have a table, does it make it a crapless? Yeah, it's a crapless casino.
Zing.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be here all night, ladies and gentlemen. That was awesome. I wish I thought of that.
The Toledo, Ohio casino has pretty cool.
Never been. Have you been?
No.
Mr. Ohio?
I went to college at Toledo University. I lived in Toledo. I think at the time, gambling was not legal in the state.
So there was no casino.
There was no casino.
Okay.
I love Toledo's a cool little town.
How far was it from your last
probably
foray?
So Cleveland's like an hour northeast. So Toledo's maybe like an hour and a half northwest.
So a little farther.
A little farther. And when I go home to Ohio, there's no reason to go up to the Toledo area. Toledo is better than Cleveland. So I've never, but I should venture out there just to check out the casino.
Yeah, next time you do that, get over there and check it out.
As a homework assignment, go to Toledo. The Cleveland one's okay. It's in the cool spot because it's in downtown Cleveland, so it's in the Tower Center shop. Old, if you know Cleveland, whatever, it's pretty cool. Good night, Naomi. Thanks for stopping in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Toledo. So Ohio's one of those places where like, okay, we're going to legalize gambling, but we're going to say where the casinos are going. So there's probably some money exchanged hands.
Yeah, exactly.
How politicians do. So they're like, they pick like the 4 corners of Ohio. So it's like Cleveland, Toledo, Columbus in the middle, and then Cincinnati on the southern border has casinos. So
you got a couple good things that just popped up in here. One of them was, where is it at? Joe had a comment. Oh, here we go. Joe said, "Come to Harrington, Delaware. $5 tables and great dealers." And I played there. I played there with Joe. So that's your kind of place. So when you make your East Coast swing, we got
Well, it depends. Is it so? I've heard I was in talks with Boston Billiard Club. They wanted me to go out there and film with them. This was before or right during the COVID, and since I don't think They have a table, but it was, what state is that? Just, I don't know what state it was.
Okay.
It's not Massachusetts, even though it was called Boston Billiard Club.
All right.
But they had a $5 table, but it was $10 limit, max bet. So hopefully you don't have a $10.
They're not that way. No.
Okay.
I played there many times.
At least it's like 100 or 500 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you're all right. You're not going to be disappointed going over there.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been past like New York, so.
Yeah, we have to get you on this side, but I do think definitely get you to Biloxi.
Yeah.
Because
that's somewhere we could definitely have like a ColorUp meetup.
Yeah, exactly. You got a mile and a half of maybe not even that far, and there's probably like 10, 12 casinos, and then there's a few more, kind of L shaping off the top of that. So a mile and a half.
And a lot of them are properties that people have comps to.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
MGM, Caesars,
yeah.
Golden
Beau
Nugget,
Rivage
whatever.
is the MGM.
Yeah.
The Caesars one down there, whose name I can't think of off the top of my head. Yeah, it's down there. Golden Nugget would be another one that some people in Vegas might play. So, yeah, there's some options down there. So, absolutely. But yeah, that would be a cool place. And now there was another question in here from Tom. Boom. What casino has the most craps tables? How would you respond to that?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I can look. There's a forum in Discord that has, it's one of the big casinos in Vegas, I think. Like Wynn or Encore, they have like 10.
Yeah, how many do they have
might
open?
have like 8 or 10 or 12. Yeah, open's a different story,
Yeah.
but
But I think Cherokee's got 8 or 10. I think it's 8.
okay.
And they'll have all of them open on a Friday, Saturday night. It'll be hopping.
That's pretty wild. I love to hear that.
Oh, wow. Listen to this. This is crazy. Tom said Mohegan used to have 18 running in the old days. I've never heard of a place even. I mean, can you imagine the staffing on that?
Yeah, back in the old days in Vegas, I think it was like a similar situation. Craps ruled, and they just like, these
put them everywhere.
Old places that, it was something like that. I'm curious how many Mohegan has now. They used to have 18 because, I mean, they're relatively new. They're not like from the 50s and, the heyday in Vegas.
Okay. Interesting.
I was going to see if I could pull up the resources page here.
Oh, and try to
Craps
get the...
map. Yeah, if I can sort the spreadsheet by number of tables, if they have... no, it doesn't have.
Doesn't have how many?
Number of tables. Yeah, I could sort it by who has crapless or not. Seems like quite a few, but yeah.
Well, that's amazing that you can even remember some of those days when they had those kind of table numbers.
No, well, obviously I wasn't around, but I've done the research.
No, but I mean, like,
done the research.
What do you think it was when you first started playing 20 years ago when you went to Vegas? How many tables do you think? I think you told me what?
Probably similar to what they do now.
Similar?
I don't know if
so it wasn't that
changed
big
in
of a
20
difference.
years. No,
Okay.
I would say the 50s and 60s.
The high watermark, definitely. I didn't know if it tapered down slowly or if it was just a big drop to what it is now.
Yeah, I don't see
No.
any, like, I can't, like, Google it quickly to find who has the most tables. This information, why do they keep it secret from us?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
And Rebecca did have a point. She said LaGuardia is definitely much nicer for now, for sure, because that was a terrible place. Not enough chairs, no plugs.
Tom, some of them are talking about $5 tables. I remember the days. Hey, come to Reno. You can get a $3 game in the morning still at the Pepper Mill.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. Do they do crapless at the $3 table also?
No, I don't know of a place that has crapless in Reno.
Really?
We've got a couple places that bar the 2 instead of the 12, but I don't know about crapless actually.
And you'll have to get on that.
I need to do another tour of all the casinos and make a video report of Reno.
I think that would be good.
Yeah, I think we've definitely. I think we can shut this podcast down. The answer.
What is
Charlotte.
the answer? Charlotte? She doesn't like Charlotte.
Hates it.
Wow. Okay.
So many people. She was talking last night. Like a lot of her plane had 20-minute, 30-minute connections. That's impossible in Charlotte.
Oh.
Like you go from one place to the other, it's a mile away, or from gate to gate, and it's always late in and out.
Really?
I've never had a good experience there, and her is, she flies through there a lot.
Yeah, I've only been there a few times. Most of the time on
it's
business.
It's like nice and clean and nice, but
getting from one side to the other.
I think they just have too much traffic for what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Now that we're off topic, but
hey, at least we're not leaving anybody hanging though.
No. I think we've answered all the questions, and I mean, this won't make the podcast. So.
Obviously, no. I'm kidding.
Us just shooting the breeze. But if we have a good question, good conversation.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's good for you to hang out with your audience a little bit, whether they're on Facebook or YouTube or whatever else they're on. So that's awesome.
Yeah, good topic for this week.
Yeah. All righty. Well, it's what time is it on the East Coast now?
6:30 here.
So it must be 9:30 over here. So 9:31. So gotta hit the bed because, as you know, 4:30 comes early.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks.
See ya. Yeah. Bye, everybody.